of people were taken after a post-Ida sweep of all the senior citizen facilities in the area over the last 2 days found 5 senior citizens dead and deemed 10 of those facilities unfit. Now, according to the city, emergency and transportation services assisted in the evacuation of the following facilities: Peace Lake Towers in New Orleans East, St. John Birchman in Gentilly, St. Martin Manor in Warehouse District, the Lil Inn in New Orleans East, Nazareth Inn 1 and 2 in New Orleans East, which had 1 fatality. Christopher Inn also had a senior citizen pass in the aftermath of Ida. And at Flint-Goodrich Apartments, 2 seniors lost their lives. That's in addition to the 2 facilities ordered closed yesterday, including Ascension Inn in the 7th Ward, where 1 senior died, and Renaissance Place in Algiers. The city's shocking findings show how seniors' homes continue to struggle to care for those vulnerable residents with lack of air conditioning and medical attention in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida. Now, New Orleans Health Department Director Dr. Jennifer Avegno said in a statement that she was deeply concerned about the conditions she's seen, and the health department and the public safety partners will assess what legislation might assist with addressing this issue in the future. We caught up with her on the phone this evening. She explains how these are not nursing homes and the importance of that difference here. Take a listen.
Facilities like this don't have that same level of oversight. And so we don't know who has a generator, and we don't know who has an evacuation plan, or even what that plan is, or even what the level of staffing is in a building after a disaster like this. And that's a lot of the problem. You know, if you've got a building with 50 to 100 vulnerable elderly people and no one stays to check on them, they're going to have some serious issues.
Yeah, and there's currently no federal law on generators having to be at these facilities. You know, it's left to the state to make that decision. Now, the city said the evacuated residents have been looked after by local physicians and taken to facilities dependent upon their condition, with some being taken to a shelter in North Louisiana, others being taken to a hospital for treatment. Now, the 5 deaths are currently being investigated by the coroner's office. Such a sad situation here, and we'll, of course, look into this and bring it all to you guys as we find out more. For now, reporting live from the convention center, I'm Candace Charles, Eyewitness News.
Candace, thank you so much. As I just mentioned, I spoke with New Orleans City Council member Jay Banks, who says he went to the Flint-Goodrich apartment after receiving a call from someone who said they were concerned about those who were living inside of that senior facility. Here's just some of what he had to say about this tragedy.
There did not seem to be anyone in charge. There did not seem to be a lot of people that can answer questions, and those folks have been in the dark and in the heat since the power went out. But the truth of the matter being is that there needs to be a plan to make sure that that never ever happens again. So it was just a horrendous situation, and we were successful, and I commend the administration for moving so quickly. They got buses there, we got them out, we got them. Those that wanted to be evacuated were evacuated, and those that had relatives that they wanted to go to left. But no one should have been in that building in the condition that it was in, and it's just inhumane to have folks that have been in that situation like that, and to have nobody in charge was even more just, it's ridiculous. And the truth of the matter is we only know what we know, and I wish someone had reached out before they actually called to tell us just how bad that was so we could have reacted to it sooner.
Well, you said that you had seen the conditions they were in. Can you describe exactly kind of what the facility was like when you went inside, and which particular facility you went in? I know there were multiple.
I went into Flint, and it literally was so hot in there that everything I had on, literally from top to bottom, was damp. It was that hot in the building. And I don't know what the actual temperature was. There was no thermometer, but I'm guaranteeing you that it was enough to make anybody in there soaking wet being in there, and they had been in there for a long time.
Again, discussing a senior living facility, a difference here from a nursing home. This is a privately owned facility. Candace and I have been making calls all evening long on this. You'll find our reporting on our website, WWL-TV.com. We'll keep you updated with any new information that comes in. And I also want to make sure that you know, if you are looking for your loved one who might have lived in one of these facilities, we know that some family members showed up to the facility so that they can pick their family members up, but some were transported by the city to the convention center. You should call 211. But of course, Dr. Jennifer Avegno says be patient. We have that number being used by a lot of people. But again, call 211 and the city will try to get you in contact.
Well, 7 nursing homes at the center of a horrible incident in Tangipahoa Parish have been shut down by the Department of Health. Family members say they are still not getting the answers they deserve, even though we're told an investigation is now underway.
Frustrated is beyond.
Stella Franklin's mother was one of more than 800 people found in deplorable conditions in a warehouse. They came from 7 nursing homes around the area that the Department of Health ordered must close immediately. Louisiana State Health Officer Dr. Joseph Cantor said in a statement Saturday, quote, "The lack of regard for these vulnerable residents' well-being is an affront to human dignity. We have lost trust in these nursing homes to provide adequate care for their residents." Eyewitness News first broke the story from Independence, where those residents were crammed into a warehouse for the storm. Conditions got bad fast. Photos inside show cots wedged in close and mattresses on the floor, and the building began to flood.
It was trash, full of urine and feces all stacked in a corner, and the place just smelled horrible.
And what signs of distress did you see with patients?
Some were hollering, they were in pain, they were hungry, they were thirsty.
The Department of Health was turned away when trying to investigate, and the warehouse was evacuated Wednesday. Franklin's mother was one taken to the LSU field house and says today she got her first shower and first insulin dose in a week.
She said it's like hell in there. That's what she told me. Every time I talk to her, she cries. I actually had to sneak her in some food in her bag today from Sonic because the food that they're giving them, she said, is just downright disgusting.
And Franklin can't pick her up until her town of Galliano gets power back.
And here is a list of those 7 nursing homes that those people were from: River Palms Nursing and Rehab, South Lafourche Nursing and Rehab, Maison Orleans Healthcare Center, Park Place Healthcare Nursing Home, West Jefferson Healthcare Center, Maison DeVille Nursing Home, and Maison DeVille Nursing Home of Harvey. Again, call 211 if you are looking for a loved one who may have been in that warehouse.
An update to a breaking story we brought you last night. A 20-year-old man is facing murder charges after allegedly shooting a man at a gas station in Metairie. Jefferson Parish Sheriff Joe Lapinto says the shooting happened after Walter Scipio tried to cut in front of people waiting for gas when he was confronted by Dwayne Nasaka. Scipio went back to his car, grabbed a gun, and shot Nasaka, who later died at the hospital. Scipio did turn himself in to police a few hours later. He is currently in custody. Well, we're getting more images of the storm's impact on Lower Jefferson Parish, especially hard-hit Grand Isle.
Today, Tan Trung traveled by boat to give us another perspective on the widespread damage.
Our journey to Grand Isle to see the devastation by Hurricane Ida starts here in Lafitte. And this is what's greeting us here at the start of the trip.
Leaving Lower Lafitte, we see what's left in the wake of Ida. Next, we travel through Bayou Barataria. Roughly 50 minutes later, we approach Grand Isle. It's part of Jefferson Parish Councilman Ricky Template's district.
Pretty bad shape. You and I came through Lafitte to get here. I will tell you, it's emotional. It's devastation. It's sadness for the people within this community.
Then we hit the ground. Some camps, which were built under stricter building codes, held up remarkably well against the Category 4 hurricane. Others have been shredded to a shell of their old self.
It's estimated that every building on this island suffered some level of damage. 40% of the structures here were wiped clean, and the remaining 40% have to be demolished.
The superintendent of JP Public Schools traveled here to inspect Grand Isle's lone school. He's been assessing school damages in other parts of the parish. So far, there's not much that makes him confident about reopening schools anytime soon.
It's going to be tough to develop a timeline with so many variables to account for. I think our primary focus is to make sure that we get people back in safely and not rush them back in, but then at the same time, too, giving them an opportunity to assess their own personal damage.
The damage seems to worsen as we ride toward the western end of the island. The storm surge blew out patches of the so-called burrito level.
You can see how much sand was on the roadway here.
Shoving sand and water into homes, businesses, and camps, including lawn disorder. David Russo and Denise Alamond are the owners.
It was very emotional coming on the island. I've never seen it this way, and I've been close here my whole life. I grew up in La Rose, about 35 miles up the road. So we always came as children, and I'd never seen anything that looked like this.
We were here for Katrina, and Katrina was bad, but it wasn't as bad. This was really hit harder than we expected.
Despite all the devastation, they're already plotting out their future.
On Sunday, when we realized that we were pretty much going to have a direct hit, we had to have some really hard conversations.
Yeah.
But we knew we were coming back. We did.
Oh yeah, we were coming back, and we're gonna build back strong.
Before Ida, about 1,000 people lived here. And while this couple is planning to rebuild, they wonder how many of their neighbors will do the same. In Grand Isle, Tan Trung, Eyewitness News.
In Terrebonne Parish, neighborhoods are unrecognizable. Roofs caved in, whole trees and power lines snapped in two, and some homes completely obliterated. Utter heartbreak for those who say they'll never leave, but are tired after having to continue to rebuild. Our Molly O caught up with a couple living in Chauvin who says Ida has been their hardest storm yet, but they're determined to build back better.
Every home holds a memory. For Brent and Terrio, there are memories to last a lifetime inside these walls.
Oh, yeah.
That's because he's lived here almost his whole life.
Oh, since I was a little boy.
It's a place he never wants to leave, but had to when Hurricane Ida rolled through Chauvin.
It destroyed everything,
including the house across the street.
I was waiting for way worse than this. When I seen that house on the other side.
Inside Brent's home,
it just smelled, it's like a mildew.
The smell hits you the minute you walk inside.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Roof damage caused parts of the ceiling to cave in and collapse.
The roof, like I said, it's all tore up. Everything in here got wet.
It's something Brent can barely talk about.
Yeah.
He can hardly walk inside the home he's always known. His wife needs help to even make it up the stairs.
We'll get it back together somehow.
Because the memories made here, together, make rebuilding worth it.
Oh, I'm not going nowhere.
That was our Molly Oak reporting. We are watching another system in the tropics. It is not expected to be anything major, but it could bring rain to our area, and that is, of course, something with those with damaged homes do not want to hear. Let's get to a first check on your forecast with your Alexandra Cranford. Alexandra, no one even wants to hear about this right now.
I know, everyone just wants to cover their ears and say, oh, surely we're not going to get anything more from the tropics. And I guess there is some good news in that it just looks like we do have this area that's going to eventually be in the Gulf and probably will bring us some rain, but it's going to have some pretty big obstacles to face once it gets in the Gulf. So this is not the same situation that we had last week, where the Gulf was pretty much wide open and there was a chance for anything that was in there to really rapidly intensify, of course, as we saw Ida do. This is an area of low pressure over Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, and it's heading into the Gulf. But first of all, models are very iffy about what it's going to do. A lot of them keep it very weak, and then a couple of them kind of just have it drifting toward the Gulf Coast with some moisture. So notice that even though we will probably get some rain from it, at least along some part of the Gulf Coast midweek, the chance for development is still quite low. So just kind of the big headlines, and then we'll get more into detail with it in my full forecast in a little bit. There's a low chance of it developing right now. It is going to face some things like shear and some dry air in the Gulf. And we are still expecting it really regardless to just bring us some rain midweek. Now, that's not something people with damage to homes and roof problems and things like that need to hear really, or want to hear. But we kind of knew we'd eventually get some rain going with a higher chance eventually. So it does look like that will be happening midweek. Very quickly touching on what's happening now, we're in the 70s to lower 80s. The next 12 hours bring our lows in the upper 70s, and then tomorrow looks like another pretty hot day with a heat advisory in effect. But that rain chance for the work week and starting really Monday and into Tuesday is going to help with the heat a little bit. In a few minutes, I'll be back. I'll have a longer time to kind of show you what's happening with Invest 91, take a look at the models and so forth, and we'll get you updated on it, as well as what to expect as we head into the rest of this weekend.
All right, thanks so much, Alexandra. Tonight, the New Orleans City Council President Helena Moreno sent a letter to Entergy New Orleans CEO Deanna Rodriguez, if I can get that out, requesting the energy provider to not pass on the cost of recovery to its customers in the city of New Orleans.
Yeah, a lot of people are worried about this. Moreno says the city wants to help Entergy cover recovery costs using state and federal assistance.
As well as a storm reserve fund set up after Hurricane Katrina, which now has about $39 million in it. Moreno also asked Entergy for a report on the best way to avoid passing on that cost to ratepayers. But the progress has been undeniable. Entergy reports power is now back to about 300,000 of the 900,000 customers and who lost it in Louisiana during Hurricane Ida. Now that's because the utility was able to restore 6 of the 8 main transmission lines feeding high voltage power into southeast Louisiana.
We've made great progress repairing transmission lines and the substations that I've noted here, and this is the backbone for power delivery to customers. This has to be in place for power delivery to the distribution system.
Now, the key to that has been restoring the high voltage transmission lines that failed during the storm. But places that took a direct hit, like St. John, St. James, and Tangipahoa, will not have their power fully restored for 2 more weeks, September 17th. And in Terrebonne, Lafourche, St. Charles, and Lower Plaquemines, they'll likely have to wait over 3 weeks until September 29th. We
also have an update on power restoration for CLECO customers. More than 72,000 people now have electricity in St. Tammany and Washington parishes. CLECO provided an update for when more people will get power. Here's a bit of a breakdown by town and by neighborhood. And the Madisonville-Del Oaks area expect to be in the dark for another 8 to 10 days. The wait is shorter in Lacombe, just 2 to 4 days. And in Covington, restoration times vary between 2 and 10 days. Of course, it depends on the neighborhood.
Get power from Washington St. Tammany Electric Cooperative. The company says that all delivery points and substations are energized. That means only individual feeder lines now need to be repaired. Right now, St. Tammany has just over 11,000 outages. Tangipahoa and Washington Parish combined have about 5,000 outages.
New Orleans leaders announced the city will offer public transportation to state-run Hurricane Ida shelters.
RTA will pick people up from 12 facilities, including nursing homes and apartment complexes. The services are from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day.
And if you'd like to go to one of the shelters, you have 3 options. Go to one of these pickup locations. We have this list on our website and free app. Take an RTA bus to the convention center.
Or you can take a coach bus directly to one of the shelters. If you are in a senior living facility, you can call 311 to be picked up. There's still more to come on the Eyewitness News at 10.
Including words from the governor today where he stressed the importance of generator safety after a number of people were killed or hospitalized due to improper usage.
Plus, a dolphin rescue is underway near Slidell after Ida's surge brought it into dangerous waters. Those stories and more are coming up.
Well, we heard from Governor Edwards this afternoon on relief efforts across Louisiana.
He updated power restoration and shared a warning for those using generators to cool their homes.
Electricity is one of the biggest challenges that we have across southeast Louisiana. We know that, and depending on the damage to the infrastructure, the transmission lines, the distribution lines, as well as the generation capabilities, there's not an even rate of restoration going on, and that's always going to be the case. And I'm always happy to see people getting powered up, and some people are going to be quite a while. But we can report that as of noon today, we're down to 718,559 customers. That means homes and businesses. That's a lot more than 718,000 people who are still without power. But that's down from 1.1 million at the peak. And so we're thankful for that. And we are looking forward to having power restored to as many people as possible, as soon as possible. President Ricks mentioned this a while ago, generator safety. I'm going to talk about confirmed deaths in just a moment, but I want to remind people that in storms like this, typically it isn't the direct impact of the storm that kills the most people. It's post-storm activities. And one of those has to do with the use of generators. If you've got a generator that you're using, please make sure that it's at least 20 feet from your residence. It's in a well-ventilated area. It is not in a crawl space, a garage, certainly not in the house with you, but really not even under a window or a door or a vent. This is tasteless, it is odorless, and you don't know it's happening until it's too late. And really sad, what happens a lot of times is people turn a generator on in order to get cool enough to go to sleep. A family will go to sleep, and sometimes they don't wake up. So please be very careful. And then we also learned this morning that there have been some incidents where professionally installed home generators, those that are there year-round, are operating too close to the house, particularly too close to a window or a vent, and they've caused some people to be sick too. So please, just because it's not a portable generator, make sure that you are being safe with your generators. Very sadly, we are reporting 12 storm-related deaths at this point. It does include 4 deaths related to carbon monoxide poisoning from generators.
And here's just a few tips as we continue without power. Never use a generator inside a home, garage, or any other enclosed area. Keep them outside, away from vents, windows, and doors. Turn off the machine, let it cool down before you refuel it, and install a CO alarm.
Well, the Coast Guard medevaced an injured fisherman after a shark attack off Grand Isle yesterday. This story is unbelievable. The man had reportedly been untangling fishing nets from the vessel's propeller when he fell overboard and was bitten by a shark. Crew members applied a tourniquet to the man's partially amputated leg and radioed for help. He was taken to University Medical Center in critical condition. Meanwhile, the race is on to save a dolphin stranded in waters near Slidell. Jalissa Garza from our Tegna family has more.
Cars lined up, people sitting in the grass, all in awe of a sight that's not seen every day.
How could they get a dolphin in this part of this area? How could they get a dolphin in Louisiana?
A dolphin far from home, stuck between a levee and a pump station.
From this morning, everyone has been like looking and taking pictures and stuff like that. And I was curious.
The Bury family all with smiles from ear to ear.
I saw a dolphin before because in Florida there was a dolphin show, but that dolphin looks like the one we saw in Florida.
Anthea Bury says the sight of this dolphin brought joy after difficult days.
After all this is something amazing.
Other people like Mario Molina worried.
For me, it's not funny to see dolphins suffering like that, but I can't do anything. I can do nothing for it.
Molina walks along this road every day and has been checking on the dolphin ever since he spotted it.
A lot of people is watching, and I didn't see anybody try to help him.
Molina saying he just wants the dolphin to get back home safely.
I would like to see somebody help.
Jalissa Garza.
Just saw a dolphin.
Eyewitness News.
Well, we know you don't want to hear it, but we are watching another storm in the tropics, unfortunately.
We will have a full check on your forecast when we come back. Jefferson Parish is still under a curfew as progress is slowly being made to restore electricity and sewer service to homes and businesses.
Parish leaders shared this message earlier for those still trying to decide whether or not to try to return home.
If you are uncomfortable and you cannot live without electricity, without internet, we still have low water pressure, we're under a boil water advisory still, or if you have health issues that any of these issues might exacerbate your problems, we need you to stay away for a bit longer. Fortunately, schools have told us that they're not going to open next week, the Catholic school and the public school system. So if you can afford to be away and life, again, we're putting it back together day by day, and we're trying to give you all the information that you need to make your own decisions. And we do make advances every day, but this is the reason for these briefings is to give you as much real-time information as possible for you to make your personal decisions. My family is still away. My family is still going to stay away for a few more days. I tell them to touch base with me every day, but my family still is, my recommendation is that they are still away. And they want to come home, but I'm asking them to still stay away.
All right, and getting into our weather, we're talking about a few different things, including the heat. That really hasn't changed. That's been really strong, of course, ever since Ida in southeast Louisiana. And then, of course, we're talking about the tropics because it's still not quite September 10th, which is the peak day of the season. And then, of course, that's just the peak day. Even after that, the tropics do continue very active. So we do have a bit of stuff to talk about as far as that goes. We'll get into it in a second. But first, looking kind of nice in New Orleans. Our temperature 83, but feeling like 90 when you factor in the humidity. We have some 70s though on the North Shore, including 73s for a couple of spots. And then here are these dew point temperatures. This is one of the ways, along with relative humidity, that you can talk about, how it feels, the mugginess, the humidity at the surface. And I must say, earlier today, these were mostly in the 60s, and now they've increased into the 70s. And we'll have that little increase as we get into the next several days. So when you factor that in, it's making it feel a little hotter. Tomorrow, Sunday, we will have a heat index up to maybe 100 to 105. Today in the late afternoon, we were kind of hovering around 95 to 100 for the heat index. But of course, we don't have power and air conditioning for so many people. So it's another day where it'll feel hot and humid. If you're trying to do any sort of cleanup things outside, just please be careful. Don't stress yourself too much in the heat. And I know it's hard, but try to find ways to stay hydrated and stay cool. Lows tonight will drop into the lower 70s like they are right now, actually north of the lake, and upper to middle kind of 70s on the South Shore. And then tomorrow, we have a very similar forecast to what we had today. 93 for the high. That was the high today, too. Easily feeling like close to 100. And here's your planner. Our rain chance not too high tomorrow. It'll be about 20% or so. And we'll get into precision cast now just to give you an idea. We do actually have a little surface boundary over us near our coast. That'll kind of lift to the north. So I'm starting this here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pretty quiet start. But during the daytime, you can see a couple of showers. I don't think we'll have a lot of rain tomorrow. Still mostly under the influence of high pressure. But as we move into Monday and Tuesday, we have a 50% to 60% rain chance. In fact, this is Monday morning, 10 a.m., kind of quiet. But here's a little surface front kind of sneaking toward us. So 3 p.m. Monday, you can see a few scattered showers and storms. And then we'll fast forward to 7 p.m. Generally more rain in the area Monday, which should help a little with the heat. At least we'll say highs maybe around 90. And then by Tuesday, we've begun talking about a surge of moisture maybe starting, especially into Wednesday and Thursday, with some showers and storms bringing our temperatures down, but also bringing those rain chances up. And that would be because of what's happening here. So this is Invest 91L. Again, area of investigation, not organized, not developed. And this, of course, is Hurricane Larry, a major hurricane out here. It's just still churning. Now, thankfully, this one you can see is going to track off to the north well before it reaches our part of the world. So we'll continue to track Larry, but it might even go east, possibly of Bermuda. So hopefully just stays over open water and uses up a lot of energy. It's a Category 3 now and could soon be a Category 4. But of course, we're looking at this little disturbed area of weather. It's just a low pressure area. And notice that even though we're looking for rain from it probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 5-day chance for development is still only 30%. And that's because it is not set at all that this will develop. There's still a low chance of development. There is a chance, we'll be watching it, but it's going to face a couple of these obstacles, and it does look like really regardless, it's going to bring us a little bit of rain. So look at this. Some of our newest models are kind of bringing it more out to the north and northeast. A couple of them kind of just have it roughly just meandering around where it is right now. And really none of them are developing it into a really even hurricane or a major hurricane, certainly, and that's because there are going to be these hindrances to its development, including dry air. We have a lot of that on water vapor imagery, and look at all these bright colors. There's also going to be wind shear indicated in those, especially when you get to the pinks and reds, and so it's not going to be a very hospitable environment for tropical systems. Now, last week, yes, it was, but this week, the Gulf a little bit different. So just to give you an idea, this is not necessarily exactly what's going to happen, but notice that by Wednesday, this is the GFS model, it kind of tightens it up, it brings some rain, but that might be the most significant thing that we get from it. So something to watch for sure. We'll keep you updated. But right now it looks like we may just pick up some rain. The blues indicate, this is for the next 7 days, about 1 inch. Purples to reds, that's more like 2 to 3 inches. So we will see. We'll kind of have to see how it shapes up in the next couple of days. But really, that's the main thing that we'll be looking for right now. Looks to be rain, of course, and this is Hurricane Larry. You can see that that one is going to stay out over, hopefully, again, the open waters and maybe not even affect Bermuda. So we will track that one, but not a concern for us. Our 7-day forecast shows a little front at the end of the week, may make it less humid and actually even bring our temperatures down a touch at the end of the week.
Ida still Ida, or is it's done finally? Good. I hated her. A pretty valiant effort by Tulane today, nearly pulling off the biggest upset in this young college football season. And remember, this home game for the Green Wave was moved to the Oklahoma Sooners crib in Norman because of Ida, and OU came in as the #2 ranked team in the country. Wave trailed by 18 heading into the fourth quarter, but begin the comeback. Michael Pratt will throw his second touchdown pass of the day to Cameron Carroll out of the backfield. Tulane doesn't convert the two-point try there, so Green Wave down 40-28. A little over 2 minutes to go, Pratt, who had 3 turnovers in this game, also threw 3 touchdowns. Tight end Will Wallace hauls it in, finds Paydirt, so it's a 5-point game after the extra point, 40-35. Tulane then lines up for the onside kick, and the Green Wave execute it to perfection. They recover the onside, and now they have a chance to possibly take the lead, even win this thing and pull the upset. 4th and 13 for the Green Wave. Pratt, no one's open, scrambles out of the pocket from the pressure, tries to pick up the first on his own with his feet, dives, and comes up just a half-yard short. Turnover on downs. Oklahoma would run out the clock and survive Tulane's upset bid, 40-35, the final.
Really proud of the effort. Obviously, we didn't come down here to play close. Thought we could have won the game. We would have played better in the first half. I think we would have had a much better opportunity to do it. But we're going to be able to watch the tape and build on it.
So no upset in Norman, Oklahoma, but maybe we may have an upset at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. 16th ranked LSU facing UCLA. And the Bruins are up 11 in the fourth quarter over the Tigers. If you've been watching this one, UCLA dominating in the trenches. They are dominating both on the offensive and defensive line front. LSU needs a comeback here in the fourth quarter, or they risk losing this opener at UCLA. And we'll be right back after this. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Just checking on tomorrow's forecast, starting it in the morning and then through the day. Not a whole lot of rain, but you can see just a little bit showing up by tomorrow, late afternoon, early evening. And then Monday, too, it'll kind of be a flare up of a few scattered showers and storms, mostly during the afternoon and early evening. And then we'll turn our attention after that to the midweek rain from that surge of tropical moisture associated with what is right now Invest 91L. The next name on the list, by the way, is Mindy. But again, we're not expecting this to really be able to rapidly intensify. I think if anything, a depression, maybe tropical storm Mindy, and maybe just a rainmaker. We'll have to see, but we'll track it. In any case, plan on some rain increasing at the middle of this coming week.
All right, Alexander, thanks so much. Well, ever since the storm hit, we have been seeing many people step up to help others. Well, loaded with food, diapers, toiletries, and more, they drove through the night from Texas to bring those supplies to some of the hardest hit areas. So wonderful to see people like him willing to step up and willing to help others. So many of us do it. Of course, we say it all the time. Look for the helpers.
Look for the helpers. That's so wonderful. There's so many great stories like this. I wish we could cover them all, Cherise.
Yes, I wish we could. All right, that's our news for now. Thanks for watching.
We will see you right back here tomorrow. Have a great night, and we will see you then.
Until then, have a good night.